Hey everyone, MTash here, and if you've ever wanted to be a summoner or necromancer in Destiny 2, well, now is your chance, or at least as close as you can possibly get. I want to show you how this build works, show you the destruction, and I'm not going to claim it's the best thing ever, but it is a lot of fun. So let's get started. In order to make this build work, you're going to want to use the swarmers because when you destroy a tangle, it will spawn a new threadling. These threadlings will also unravel your targets that you damage, and if you play in a group, this becomes kind of OP because you can run around grabbing everyone's tangles, throwing them down, and spawning threadlings. But you don't have to be in a group for this to work because of the other perks I'm going to show you. You're going to want to use the threadling grenade, but you don't actually have to throw it if you don't want. By using Mind Spud Invocation, you can actually consume the grenade and get 5 threadlings instead of 3, allowing you to have a higher uptick and uptime of all of your threadlings. Now, with your Rift ability, Weaver's Call will give you threadlings when you use your Rift, and with some of these other abilities, we're going to get even more value. Dealing damage will generate grenade energy, and it is a lot every time you use your fusion rifle. Throw out a rocket, or use your burst, you're going to get massive chunks of energy, allowing you to essentially spam your grenade if you can put out enough damage. Up next is Thread of Finality, where your finishers will spawn threadlings. Thread of Evolution will just make them stronger and allow them to travel even further. And Thread of Rebirth will allow your strand weapons to have a chance on final blow to create threadlings. And it doesn't have to be a primary type weapon. It could be a fusion rifle. It could be a rocket launcher. Down the road, we might get some insane exotics that will work with this. But there's also another hidden perk you can use, Hatchling. Now, Hatchling, when you do precision final blows or rapidly defeating targets with non-precision weapons, aka things like rockets and fusions, you can get more threadlings to spawn. So just getting the kill period can generate one, and a precision final blow can spawn another. With this weapon, I can get 2 threadlings for 1 kill. It's not going to happen all the time, but when it procs, you're going to have a lot of these threadlings on the field. So you can simply shoot your guns and your threadlings will get to work, but you're going to want to essentially spam your abilities as well. You can consume your grenade to get multiple threadlings, send them out, grab these tangles that you get, and you're going to have so many threadlings on the field, moving and grooving, and it kind of feels OP. It's not actually that insane. There's a ton of different builds you can do, with all the different 3.0 subclasses, but there's something about throwing these grenades and throwing these out and getting all these threadlings and watching them do all the work where it's really satisfying. And I think that for pretty much any PvE activity in the game, I think that it'll hang, okay? I think it'll hang. I think in team play, when you have lots of different people playing, you're going to notice it a little bit more, but I want to show you this here. I'm going to get my super. It's going to give me my grenade back pretty much, or a huge chunk of energy for my grenade. And between all these different things, I think that the damage output is solid. Now, there's a few armor perks you're going to want to use as well. I'm using the Void and Strand Dual Siphon, allowing me to generate armor charge. And that's going to give me my grenade kickstart so that I can get my grenade energy back sooner. If you are using multiple strand weapons, obviously the strand loader is a really good choice for that as well. I'm also using stacks on stacks as well as innervations, so if I do end up picking up orbs of power, I'm going to be getting my grenade back sooner as well as additional stacks for that armor. Currently, I'm using Bomber and Distribution, and I think that that's pretty good. Another option would be the Explosive Finisher if you wanted to get your grenade back, but I already am using a different armor perk, and I don't think I like this one quite as much. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the best armor with Discipline, and so I had to tank some of my stats. My recovery is a little bit lower than I'd like, and my resilience is terrible. In PvE, you typically want to go for 100 resilience, but I'm going for that 100 Discipline. If I can, I would like to go 100 resilience and 100 discipline. I think that would be amazing because of that damage reduction and because I'm a warlock and I've got my healing rift. I know recovery is good, but it's not too imperative in my opinion. I think that the resilience and the discipline is a little bit better in this. It's also, a very area of effect kind of mage feeling build where I don't care if I'm a little squishy because everything's just dying in front of me. Now let's have a little chat. Let's just be honest here. Is this better than the 3.0 subclasses? Exotics like Sunbracer exist, and you can spam the field with grenades and pretty much destroy everything in the game. And the overall area of effect and destruction is probably higher than Strand. There's insane wave clearing arc builds as well, and Void has options for destruction, for healing, for everything. And so if I had to gamble on it, would this Strand subclass, would this threadling build be the meta? I'm not so sure. It's good. I mean, it's fun summoning 500 threadlings, but is it going to break the game? I'm not so sure about that. There's already a lot of ways to break this game and slaughter every enemy you might see, but it is a lot of fun. And if you are with a big group of people and everyone's using Strand, it actually gets even more OP. And if other people are doing the same build, it can just look kind of funny around the map. Now, I feel like this needs to be said, but I have no idea what the DPS is of these threadlings. I don't know if it's good in sustained DPS situations. I don't know if it's great in burst situations. If you compare it to things like a solar grenade, how much damage is that doing? I really do not know, but over the next week or so, I'm sure we will have that answer if this threadling build is a viable long-term option. I haven't sat down and crunched the numbers because I was just too excited and I was having too much fun with it. I think that it is important, and if you really care about slaughtering content as fast as you can or beating that Nightfall, I think that that conversation really does need to be had. Because right now, this is just a superficial guide on a superficial build that was a lot of fun. So take it with a grain of salt. Don't invest all your time into getting the perfect threadling build, or do it and prove me wrong that it's the best thing this game has ever seen. Now, there's another thing that I should mention is sometimes the threadlings can be annoying if there's stairs or ramps, if there's too much verticality in the room. They kind of get lost and they don't know what the hell to do. For the most part, they're pretty good. They can make their way up walls and ramps and things like that. But I have noticed from time to time, they don't perform as well as I would have hoped. And because they're kind of, AI based, there might be a certain enemy that you want to go down, but they don't become the target and they stay alive and then you die. And this is more of like a easy PvE build than something like a Nightfall where you desperately need all your damage output to be on a champion or something like that. So be careful if you're going into the harder content or raids with this, because that is something that can be an issue and it can get you killed. I would also like to add that the more I play it, the more I realize that when you're in a group, it shines even more. Everyone generating power orbs and armor charge leads to some very funny stuff. You can get your grenades on cooldown, you can do the finishers, you can do throwing grenades. There's so many options for you to use these abilities and make them even more valuable. And so I would recommend, if you're going to use this build, do it while you're in a group or doing some kind of open world PvE stuff like this. If you have any ideas on how to make the build even better, let me know in the comments down below, and make sure to subscribe for more.